Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Welcome back to My Voice, a podcast that loves to go in depth with individuals externally and internally. Today, I'm honored to bring back the great and powerful Zoe, Messy Daydreams, if you want to follow that on Instagram. And we talked about last time on the episode about astrology, but there's a lot to stem from what astrology is, because you can always stem to spirituality, and not everybody that's into spirituality is very into astrology, but it's inevitable to cross paths when it comes to that. And with that being said, to the new listeners, this is Zoe. This is the listeners, and I want you to give yourself like a minute introduction to who you are and what you define.
Okay, damn. I'm an artist, I guess, first and foremost. I am a cat mom. I'm a plant mom. I am an astrology enthusiast. I love to learn. I really just like to learn things. So, like, learning about spirituality. This is really bothering me. So it's just smoke all over the place. She'll go in the background for now. Sorry, everybody.
Bring back the surge, motherfucker!
It was like, I couldn't see. So, yeah, I don't know. I guess, like, yeah, all of this comes down to I just like to learn new things. I like to explore different ideas. I want to get to the root of what's up in life, you know?
Yeah.
Zoe actually means life. It's a Greek name. Means life. So, like, for me, I feel like the purpose of life is to find the purpose in life.
Yo, Chris and Steph came through with that name.
They knew it was up.
Yeah.
They definitely named us with a purpose. Like, my mom was really intentional about, like, naming us something that would carry us through life. And for me, I guess she knew before I was even going to be born that I was going to be named Zoe.
Yeah.
I think we talked about that maybe last time, but yeah, so I just want to explore life.
Were you always like that when you were a child? Even I know you were into all that astrology, but even intuitionally, women I love women's intuition because it's fucking crazy.
Yeah.
And even the mothers. And were you like that as a child? Because as they say that a child is closer to the universe than everybody in the world. They're the closest to the universe. Do you remember that, or do you remember your mother ever speaking on that subject? You'd be like, holy shit, you're a curious child.
So, I mean, my mom always told me that I was so intuitive. Like, I remember that was, like, one of the things she, like, kind of, even to this day, like, she commented on it the most. She's like, you're so intuitive. Like, you really, like, I just, like, kind of, like, get this, like, deeper understanding that I can't even describe most of the time. Which is the frustrating part, like connecting it to that expression, which is where the art comes in.
Yeah.
That's the expression of the inexplainable. But yeah, I know that as a kid I was so curious about everything. I would read encyclopedias and dictionaries. Like, I was like a weird, nerdy kid, but at the same time I was like really spacey and floaty and was just like, I had every question, like, teachers hated and loved me because I was like here for the conversation, but I was also like just wanted to talk, right? I was like, I just wanted to like know things and absorb things. I like I've been described as like an emotional sponge a lot. Like, I really take in other people's like emotions,
like,
but I think just an informational sponge in general.
After having that intuitional, let's say, spirituality, because obviously you're an adventurous kid and your parents took you to church. What did you feel as a kid going there?
Okay. So, like, how I felt about Christianity as it fit into my life, kind of?
Yeah, as you grew up.
Okay. Yeah, so I actually really loved being a Christian. Like, there was, and I think that I picked and chose, even as a young child, like, what I actually liked about it, which is still kind of what I do today. I kind of pick and choose what I like about life, but yeah, I really, really appreciated the, like, giving thanks, you know, like, giving thanks for your food, or, like, thanking God as the universe, for, like, what you had in front of you, and, like, I feel like there was, like, a lot of manifesting that went into, like, prayer, and that all really worked well for me, like, the, like, asking into the abyss, but I guess for me it was that God relationship that I had, and, like, really trying to, like, strive for a relationship with God, I feel like you can say it's God, you can say it's your spirit guides, you can say it's the universe, like whatever it is. We're kind of all like looking at the same thing on that respect. So I really liked those aspects. And again, as such a curious child, like I really like read the Bible. Like I really tried to understand what I was looking at because I wanted to know. Like I wanted to. And the really ironic thing is that like the reason why we have sin is knowledge. Like the supposed like Eve ate the apple of knowledge, Eve gained knowledge, and to be actually without sin is to go blindly with faith. And it's so interesting to me how like we wanted to like gain this knowledge from reading the Bible when the Bible says to go blindly with faith. It's like yeah, it was really, I mean, now I realize it's like really interesting to think about like that like weird dichotomy that's like kind of like dissonant from
I see
itself.
that, and it's very beautiful because it's even like experience. I was having a conversation with my brother. It's like men don't represent God. God's experiences represent God. Like say like with that 10-cent thing, you're having your own significant experience with God itself. Like
totally. And there's so much outdated stuff in the Bible. Like there is so much misogyny in the Bible. There's homophobia in the Bible that was written in kind of post, but like there's like so much stuff that is outdated. Like it was written thousands of years ago. It's like it, and you can use that as a guidebook. Like I have so much respect for Christians as well. Like the fact that they've like devoted their life to something, to being good, to being better, because that as a concept, as a practice is incredible. But like
there's some form of confirmation biases.
Wow. Hi guys. Hey. Where is everyone? Aiden and them. Are they not here right now?
No. Did they say they were gonna be here?
You know what's so funny? I DM'd you and I asked you to be on the podcast. And now that you're here,
oh, hey, I answered you too.
Yeah,
you
and
answered me back.
Yeah, I meant to go
surprise
send you.
guest.
Yeah,
My best podcast. Plug it.
Plug your shit.
Nah. Are you guys recording something right now?
Yeah.
Oh fuck! And I just like walked.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
That's classic. Meet my mess. Come on.
What the fuck though, dude? They literally called me an hour ago outside my house. Hi everyone.
Don't worry.
This is so funny. What are you guys doing?
We're recording. We're just talking about
drawing.
This is just like what we're gonna talk about, kind of.
Spirituality. Okay, I won't mess up your
That's okay. You can come
outline.
sit with us.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Come by.
Special motherfucking guest, guys. Let's go.
Yeah. Wow. Surprise guest.
I didn't respond. I meant to send you an audio. I'm so sorry.
No,
I don't text.
I'm just gonna text Aiden. What the hell?
Tell them to be quiet when they come home.
Okay, well. Oh, are you?
We're not live. They're just recording.
Yeah.
Oh,
This
okay.
camera died, and then.
Oh yeah, well, it's recording now. Yeah.
We can edit the bad part.
No, let's not edit that. That was actually cool.
That's great.
So
That's funny.
Besides the point where we were talking about Christianity, and I see that as a confirmation bias, as they tend to put themselves out of the cycle of them being capable of evil as much as the person that sins every day, because they put themselves on a pedestal. And there's some individuals, just like going to church and whatnot, that I see individuals, I'm like, you don't really follow that, or you don't really have that kind of mindset to
totally, but I think there's that in everything, you know? Like we do often find like there's like a lot of really shitty Christians, you know, and that's
people.
That's in the media. Well, there's just a lot of shitty people.
Anyone can join anything.
Yeah.
Exactly, like there's a lot of shitty people in the spirituality community. There's a lot of shitty people who build houses. Like, it's like you're gonna find shitty people anywhere in the YouTube community and the
go in the comments, man. Like holy shit.
Yeah, there's like so much, but like overall, I think it is truly something built on love, or it's supposed to, and that was like what I really appreciated the most is that there was so much, like there was so much grace, and it was built on like this God is supposed to be a loving God and a forgiving God and like a whatever else, and I think that gets lost a lot by all the politics and the kind of BS and the shitty people and the...
Betty, what's up, baby? What's good, bro? What's up, man?
Those are really good. Enjoy.
We're sliding down, like falling down a mountain.
It's good, boys. You guys want to join the podcast?
What's going on?
Oh,
dude.
Oh no, I just ended up happening to walk in here and this was happening.
Wow.
What's up, bro? What's your name, man?
Let's go, bro.
Yeah.
B?
go with it.
Pete? Abe. Nice to meet you, man.
Nice to meet you, Abe.
Yo, what's your
Yeah,
name,
I'm
bro?
Josh.
Josh, Abe, man. Nice to
Good
meet
to
you.
meet you.
Dude, this thing looks good, eh?
Yeah. Yeah.
They recorded the whole thing.
It's
We're not editing
blowing.
it. Yeah, we're not.
I had it in the middle, and I thought it was gonna be like nice and light. It's like
That's sick.
going off, but the
Yeah.
crystals
Yeah.
are gonna
Is that
be
just me, or-
nice and charged.
No. I think Pete. I
This
think
is the
Pete
ultimate
is
vibe
a way
episode.
Yeah, just chilling, man.
Yo, Pete.
All the stoners come by.
Yeah, jeez, we've been just
Last night
popping
in
on
here.
dab pens all day.
Okay.
We literally slid down a mountain.
That one sounds that way.
Like it was
Shit.
snowing
Yeah, I
as
guess
heck.
it
I
is,
brought my
like, what
snow
Black
pants and
Ranger
we
did.
slid on our butts down like got so
like a-
fast.
That's
It's
fun.
like a cartoon.
Yeah, yeah.
No, we
Okay,
Uh,
so we're you wanna go into our room and
Yeah, sure.
we'll bring out a joint maybe for the session.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
shit.
yeah.
Okay, cool.
I put all the weed away. So that we don't look too stoner.
Maybe we should do episode 28 here too. Right?
Yeah, just the whole day. Shit.
I got your things. Abe, you got your caramel apple?
Yeah, I do.
We'll be back.
Man, set.
I'm so sorry we're back so late.
No, don't worry.
Oh my lord, Jesus.
Alright, so. What
Back
were
on
we even
track.
talking? What were we even
Let's-
talking about? No, we're not editing that. We're leaving that so people can hear the conversation, man.
Christianity as a whole.
Yeah.
I feel as if there's different stems because I meet an individual that's really in touch with God because like someone said this to me. If we're God's children, doesn't that make us part God? Like, doesn't that make us a God?
Well, that's the thing is God. They say I can't quote actual Bible verses, but I can quote paraphrase the Bible. God is in everything. Like
Yeah.
God is in the air we breathe. God is in every atom, every particle on
Yeah.
Earth. So that means we are also God.
Yeah.
And like I think that's not actually talked a lot about in the Christian faith is that if we are also God, that means we are also creators. We were
Yeah.
made in His image. He is the
Yeah.
creator. We are also creators. So we
Yeah.
can create our own reality.
Yeah.
And that's kind of lost.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, and also I feel like it comes a lot from the American Christianity or like
Yeah.
this like Western
The
Christianity.
cunts.
That's like, they're like, it's just like capitalist. It's
Yeah.
capitalist. It's like we need people below us. There's like the priest is higher up
But as
than
I
like
feel-
the
I feel
other
as-
people just because they have more knowledge on something you're supposed to follow blindly.
Yeah,
It's like
yeah.
it's super like weird and backwards now. But I think at its core, especially Jesus, like I think Jesus himself was probably an awesome guy, and
Yeah.
he probably doesn't like Christianity. Like
Yeah.
he's like, I don't want my name on that. You know, because there's so much like misconstrued. He was just like love people. Like he hung out with prostitutes. He hung out with like the layman. He hung out with the like everyone. He was
Yeah.
like, I'm here for the people, right?
Yeah.
And the people of God are not here for the people. They're here for themselves a lot of the
Yeah.
time. And so like, yeah, I don't think that he would be too happy with what's going on. But as a whole, I think Jesus was an awesome guy. If I
Yeah.
were to meet him, I'd be like, I love what you've done with the
Yeah.
place. But
Yeah.
like,
Big fan.
Yeah. Who am I to say that you're not? I haven't met Jesus. Like, we haven't met Jesus. Or,
oh,
like,
that's true.
the-
Well, I mean, if God is in everything, then we have met Jesus.
Yeah.
So, like, I think there's a lot from Christianity that I've taken and adopted into my own spirituality.
Yeah.
Because there is so many beautiful things in it. And when
Yeah.
you, like, find the... And, I mean, I will admit it was kind of a cult. Like, I do have a lot of, like, religious trauma that I have to work through. But, like, as a whole, like, I am grateful for the years that I spent in the church. Like,
Yeah.
I fully believe that it made me into the person who I am today. So, like, there's, like, a lot of things I'm grateful for, a lot of things I could take or leave, you know?
Yeah.
Like, it's...
So when you say like, God is a representation of everything, I'm just paraphrasing.
Yeah, yeah.
So when we look at the plants, what does
Yes.
that mean? Because there's so many different forms. Because they can say that plants can hear us, they can feel us, they can, in a way, read us because of our
Yeah.
own vibration. So how do you think that plays a part in spirituality with plants, even dogs or animals?
Yeah, I mean, I'll get a little bit woo-woo here
Let's
for
get
a second.
woo-woo.
But I believe that for
Okay.
me, like, when I talk to my plants, and I'm like, you're doing so great, honey, like, you're looking amazing, you're doing your best, right? That they're taking that in,
Yeah.
right? I think when you had Ben on, you talked about that study with water. And how when you talk to water, it can affect how it freezes.
Yeah.
And so it, like, can change the, like, molecules
Yeah.
in the water. I'm just going to go close the door for them real quick. So everything's made out of water, really.
Yeah.
You know, we're made out of water. Our plants are mostly water, like, or, like, whatever. Molecules, like, are made out of molecules. And if we can change the vibration of a molecule with just our words, because our words, our voice, vibration, sound is a vibration, it's a wavelength.
Even
Then-
like our body parts, we're literally planets living on a planet.
Definitely. So, yeah, I feel like when I'm taking care of my plants, I want to put as much loving energy into my plants so that they can grow. And then you gotta, when you think about it like that, like, I'm doing this for my plants, like, I'm watering my plants, I'm making sure they're doing well, then I'm like, I have to turn that around to myself and be like, okay, am I watering myself? Am I, like,
Yeah.
giving myself nice words? Am I, like, doing the right
Yeah.
things? Because once you start doing it to one part of your life, it can kind of, like, spread to all parts of your life. And that can also go the wrong way.
Yeah.
You know, like, when I'm not taking care of myself, I'm also not taking care of my plants. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it,
How
like,
does that
kinda-
present itself, like manifest itself in your friendships?
Oh,
In, like,
definitely.
different forms?
Like, if I'm not watering myself, I'm not watering my friends.
Yeah.
You know, and
Even though
you
that's not
have
your
to-
responsibility, but like you love to.
no, but
like,
that's community, right?
Yeah,
It
yeah.
isn't technically my responsibility, but when you're invested in your relationships with other people, it can definitely be important to water each other, like, fill each other's cups, because you don't want to take from each other's cups. And, like, yeah, I don't know. I mean, and that's the thing, is when I'm negatively self-talking, I'm definitely judging other people a lot more too.
Yeah.
And then I'm not taking care of my plants. I'm not doing my laundry regularly.
Yeah.
I'm, like, you know, like, it kind of all, you can see, like, where it all, like, kind of crumbles
You're simply
down.
just a mirror. Like you end up just looking at the mirror, and when you close your
Yeah.
eyes or you feel your emotions, you tend to mirror everything. Like when, say, if you're angry, it has nothing to do with the plan. You just hit the plan or something, and sorry, little plan. Like, you hit the plan or something, and it just has nothing to do with the plan and everything to do with how you treated yourself.
Yeah, definitely. And, like, that can manifest from, like, if your job's really crappy and you're, like, going to work every day and you're like, oh, I hate my life. And then everything else you're going to do in your day is going to be like, oh, that sucks because my job sucks, so I'm already upset, and that just made that worse. And, like, you're just going to be like, oh, this is not good enough. I didn't have enough time to do this because I'm so taking up so much time being upset in my life.
What a G.
The weed fairy.
Beautiful.
The weed fairy.
Can I ash this?
There should be an ash. Right. You can grab that candle that's empty.
I have a question that I'm trying to figure out how to, like, word in my head, but
Sure.
something along the lines of, like, how do you reconcile things with spirituality or Christianity, religion, and disregard, like, the negative parts? Like, say Christianity, like, you want to be Christian, but you don't want to be homophobic, you don't want to be you don't want to be a bigot, and there's a lot of that in the Bible, but obviously a lot of really good stuff. So I guess my question is, like, how do you go through there and find a bunch of stuff that you want to live by while disregarding the stuff that you disagree with? And that, I guess, goes with spirituality too, because I'm sure there's, like, there's some stuff that you might not fully agree with, but a lot of the community is sort of what you go for. So yeah, I'm not exactly sure how to word that. Mostly just, like, how do you pick and choose those rules to live by, and how do you disregard the other ones?
Okay. Yeah.
Thanks.
That's a really good question. For me, obviously it's intuitive. Like, whatever feels right. And, like, that's, like, obviously not everyone can get to that place really easily where they're like, this feels awesome or this doesn't feel awesome, because not everyone's...
It's the product of our environment.
Because it comes to, like, paying attention. Like,
self-awareness,
Well, yeah, but, like, you have to pay attention to how you feel in every single moment to gauge how you feel about everything. So it's, like, a really, like, tedious process sometimes.
Yeah.
But I think that, like, a really great way of looking at it is, like, harm reduction. Like, how do I do the least amount of harm, you know? That's, like, more of a Buddhist principle. Is their whole thing is, like, reducing pain and suffering.
Right.
Reducing suffering in the world. Their, like, whole goal is how do we experience life with the least amount of suffering. And I think when you, like, think about that and then look at your own morals, and you're like, okay, so what are the things I'm doing that are creating suffering and counteracting suffering? And so like things like homophobia that creates suffering for other people. So then that would create suffering for yourself as well. Like you're suffering with homophobia then.
Yeah.
Or like I don't know, what are some other unsavory parts? Like
Racism.
yeah, racism and sexism.
Yeah.
And I mean, that one is the one that affects me the most, obviously.
Yeah.
But, like, in the church, when they tell you, like, you have to listen to your husband, like, your dad is the head of the house, you have to obey him, like, you have to obey everything that God says. Like, I'm not the type of person who just blindly follows, you know? And so, like, that's something I'm really strong in. But not everyone is strong in that, so they have to, like, look at it and they're like, is this only benefiting me or is this harming me in some way, in some personal way? And, like, it's really hard to look at those things objectively, but I think when you do that, morality becomes a lot easier as a whole. When you're like, does this create harm? That's why I think
Would I want this?
where the vegans kind of go right, where
Yeah.
they're like, I'm trying to reduce suffering, like I'm trying to reduce my
Right.
But
harm
also-
the
to the
moral is
environment.
right.
But
Yeah,
it's-
the moral
but
is
it's all-
so there.
Yeah.
Of course, there's semantics, right? There's
It's
like
also nature. Like
yeah, and I call myself plant-based. I don't
Yeah.
say that I'm vegan because of the connotations
Right,
that come with
right.
being vegan. You
Yeah.
know, like I still like eating honey, which is controversial, and
Yeah.
stuff like
Everything's
that. where it's-
controversial.
Yeah, everything's controversial, but it's like, yeah, that was a decision that I made. I love veganism, but I'm still going to eat honey because the bee population is keeping alive all the vegetables
Yeah.
that I want to have, and the beekeepers are the ones keeping the bee population
Right.
alive because everyone else is killing the bees. So it's
Yeah.
like, okay,
It's
I'm
a-
going to eat
it's a
honey.
hierarchy.
you're damned if
Yeah.
you do and you're damned if you don't.
Exactly. Yeah, without a doubt.
But
Yeah, it's
That's
funny
what I
too because there's extremists in any group. So if you look at vegans, like there's a lot of really good vegans. Paul McCartney's a great vegan, for
Yeah.
example. But then there's like you go on like TikTok or something. You see like you ever see like the angry vegan
vegan
lady?
teacher?
Yeah. That shit's
But the thing
hilarious.
is TikTok.
not to shit
yeah.
on there's a lot of hate going around for her, and she obviously doesn't have like the best,
Popular.
the most popular outlook on things, and I definitely don't agree with her and how she does things, but like
Yeah.
she is coming from a good place.
Yeah.
Like she I
trying to be
at least
good.
I believe. Yeah, she's coming from a place where she's like, this is the answer. Like I see it so clearly. This is the thing for
Why is it-
Christians.
You guys
too.
are fucking
They're
idiots,
like,
right?
I
Exactly,
just no, it's not even you
exactly.
guys are fucking idiots. But
Without
you
a
guys,
doubt.
I just want you to see it so bad. Like
Yeah.
I want you to hear me because I know that like morally this is what's right, and it's
Yeah.
like true. You're right. You are. This is morally what's best. It may not be what's best for everyone's health in the end, or what whatever it is. Like people can argue about which is best till the day we die.
Yeah.
But like when someone's convicted, a person with conviction, like they're gonna.
It gets to
into-
it gets to the time if you do the crime, you pay the time.
Pardon?
If you do the crime, you pay the time. Like if
Yeah.
if you take accountability and understand that you may be wrong, even in an argument, as a psychiatrist named Jordan B. Peterson says, go into every conversation thinking that you're wrong, so you have an open perspective on the other person's outlet. And there's probably been so
I
many.
really like that. Wait, go into every conversation thinking that you're wrong?
Yeah,
you could be wrong.
Yeah, you could be
Okay.
wrong, so you'll have another perspective of that other
You can
person.
always learn something.
Yeah,
I
always.
might
learn.
write that down.
That's a
Of
good
course.
one.
It's very beautiful. It's how I go into every conversation, because I don't want to like be married to a certain thought and just be missing my opportunities everywhere.
Yeah.
Like sometimes we forget to do that because it's right
Yeah,
in our
because
face.
you miss the opportunity to have a new perspective, and growth is always the goal, or should be, right?
It's continuously, even if we. Oh yeah, fuck. Sorry. If we tend to forget about it. I'm done with this.
I'm kind of over it too. It's all on you.
Do you guys think that we have to consciously grow, or do you think it just happens? Like
I
autonomously.
think that everything's the same.
I-
Like we have to both
Like, do you have to try
let
to be
it
better?
happen and also try
Okay.
to let it happen.
Okay.
Like there's like this like circle that happens. I also think about this. My brain is all these like circles because I'm like it's all happening
Yeah.
at the same time. Like we're both trying to do something and reacting from something. So
Yeah.
like our change as a person has to come from a place of this is what's naturally going to happen to me, like this is the natural progression of things, and this is what should happen, at the same time as it's I'm going to try really hard for this to happen. Like weight loss, right?
Yeah.
You're like, this is like what should happen to make me healthy. This is the change that I need and have to go through and will let happen. But then you also have to actively try to like change your mindset on food and like treat your body better and talk to yourself nicely and like exercise and or just move and
Constantly.
like yeah.
You can just go for a walk. You don't have to push fucking weights and do
Well, yeah.
like sit-ups or anything. You just continuously just walk. Sorry.
No. I also, but yeah. So I feel like there's like always that cycle of like I'm trying to find the best route for me to go and what's the best thing for me to do, but I'm also letting the best things for me happen. And
that's also the thing is just like
Not trying too hard.
there's a Buddhist saying.
Yeah.
In Buddhism it says that you sign a contract of your own demise once you have expectations. Like
Yeah.
like if that's how I paraphrased it. It's a
Okay.
different saying, but that's how I remembered it.
yeah.
Because if you have the certain expectation, it makes you miserable because you don't get to that point.
Yeah, it's kind of like asking the world or God or whoever to manifest what's best for you.
Yeah.
Because you're like, I want what's best for me.
Yeah, everyone.
But
knows what's
but
better.
I don't need to know exactly what that looks like. Like
That's
I
the
don't
thing
need
too.
to have
like,
the exact
you also,
perspective.
You also said that if we're children of God or like we're God and we're creators, we can create.
Yeah, we
So-
can
so
recreate our
if-
reality, but at the same time, it's like
It's hard
we're
work, and no one said it
all-
was gonna be easy though.
there's but this is why I'm like spiritual and not specific.
Yeah.
Where it's like there's both, there's all,
Yeah.
everything's happening at the same time. Like, and we think about God as the Christians talk about him as this all-encompassing, like unfathomable, everything is God, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if everything is God, then what the people in people who are Jewish are doing, what the people who are Catholic, what the
Yeah,
people
the
who
Japanese
are
and-
Buddhist, what the people who are Japanese, like Shintoism, like what those people all believe is also God. Like it's
Yeah.
all the same. Like we're all talking about the same thing. If the Christians believe that, and from what I've done like extensive research in a bunch of religions, and everyone is also like saying like our
Yeah,
thing
yeah.
is everything.
Yeah.
So if everything is everything, that
Yeah,
everything is everything.
everything.
Like we're all
Everything is-
talking about the same thing. We're all
Everything is everything.
everything is everything is everything is everything.
Yeah.
I like to think that a lot of this is like a theory that I have of mine, but the word for God, like we don't actually have like a word. It's like it's everything, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Just like how the brain didn't
And
name
we have
itself.
yeah, right. And I always think like we have like traces of what we called the thing, and it's like Yahweh or like Yah basically.
Yeah.
So I think of it like yes, and just being like open to like just
The way.
having the exactly the
Yeah.
mindset of yes basically. It's basically that.
That's what the Tao is kind of about. Is Tao means way,
yeah.
and that's like the yin and yang, the good and the bad, and the good and the bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
Everything
so
is everything.
everything is everything.
And you're like the
Uh,
embodiment of it basically.
Yeah, and they talk about like everything being the way. The Tao is the way. There's this way that flows through life. It's kind of like it is and it isn't. Like it is a concept, but it's also a thing. And it's
Yeah.
like, some people have interpreted it as this like vibration through everything, or some people have
So what do you
interpreted
think,
it
like,
as
even-
an actual deity.
Yeah. What we
Um,
accumulate when we eat, like how.
Maybe something to add. Also, the Christians describe God as the way, the truth, and the light, and the Taoists describe everything as the way, and that was really interesting to me when I found that out,
Yeah.
because that is two very different.
Someone said
Like religion, some people don't even think Taoism is a religion. Some people believe it's just a philosophy, but they literally just describe the same
Isn't
thing right there.
Correct me if I'm wrong, internet, but isn't philosophy mean like isn't it a Greek word for life or like
love of knowledge.
love of like love of knowledge? Yeah.
The Greek word for love of knowledge.
Yeah. So
It's
if
kinda
we
wild.
say we have a love of knowledge and we're students of knowledge as well,
Right.
then wouldn't we honestly be interested in everything? I heard a phrase that like every form of religion is like going to the same mountaintop but different trails.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
All the same, man.
Oh, I have a really fun one. Okay, so I had a dream recently. My dreams are crazy. Like, I have the most insane
What do you
dreams.
feel about dreams?
I have lots of thoughts about dreams. This one pertains to religion, though, and specifically. So, like, I've had a lot of, like, prophetic dreams before, just in my, like, daily life of, like, I'll be going throughout my day and all of a sudden something happens and I was like, I remember the dream that I had that was that exact thing. Or, because it's always, like, kind of far away from when it happens. This dream I had, I was walking up this mountain, going on this journey up this mountain, and then along the mountain I keep getting stopped at these different points, and it's different people that I've met throughout my life and different like scenarios that I've been through in my life, and like looking at all these things from like a different kind of perspective, but like going through it all. And I'm climbing this mountain and it's like so hard, and I'm doing it for like hours and hours and hours, and I finally get to the top. And I think something may have been leading me, there's something leading me to the top. And I get to the top of this mountain, and it's just this white beach.
Dang.
And the where the water would be is just light, okay? And the figure that's, like, leading me leads me up to another figure on the beach, or something. Maybe I just go up to it. I don't know. So I go up to this figure, and they look at me. They're like, "You're not supposed to be here yet." And then it drags me from the top of the mountain all the way down, and I'm like falling down this mountain, and I keep going and going and going until I get to the bottom of the mountain, and then I wake up.
Astral projection.
Maybe. I don't know. But I don't think I was conscious that
Are we really conscious?
it was a dream or whatever. Fuck
Like,
off,
what?
Abe.
It was all a dream.
No, but I woke up and I thought about that dream for weeks and weeks, because I was like, I feel like that's my explanation for spirituality. And I thought of that because you said we're all mountains, all paths lead up to the same place.
Yeah.
And like how they told me I wasn't ready to be there yet. It was super
That's
weird.
That's so funny that like all these things, even from the dime to now, that's funny that just saying something makes you remember a fucking dream about a mountain that's very beautiful.
Yeah.
Like that's actually
Yeah, well, I mean, I spent a lot of time trying to interpret that one because it really weighed on my mind. There's like some of my dreams that are just so like interesting and like complex. That one's not like crazy complex. I mean, a lot of people listening to this can probably just like get the gist of it, but like if you really dive into like the like symbolism of your dreams, it can get really interesting. I mean, going back to the Bible, there's a lot of that happening, of people interpreting their dreams to tell the future. Like a lot of kings would have prophetic dreams. I think David was one of the prophets that did that, maybe. I think in the Old Testament. Was it David? Yeah. But I always thought that was a really interesting part, because my whole life I've had these really intense dreams, like every night. They're so vivid. There have been periods in my life where I feel like I literally can't decipher what's a dream and what's reality. Like, it just feels the same in like my waking life and my dream life. And I still to this day have memories of things that have happened in dreams that I think I categorize in my like real memories,
So
and
I
then I'll
asked
bring
this
it up, and I'm
question
like, that
again.
actually didn't happen.
Right.
Are we really conscious?
I don't know. Okay, are we gonna get into
Percentage
this?
thing.
Because this, like, I spent a lot of time trying to figure it out. Like, where do we go when we dream? What is happening there? Because scientists haven't even figured it out. I've done a lot of research on this too. There's like nothing. There's very little that we have on dreams.
Well, I was reading something with. Do you know who Dr. Joe Dispenza is?
No, I don't believe so.
He is a neurologist, I believe, and I don't know. He has a lot of different things, man.
Neuroplasticity and all that
And
stuff.
it's just beautiful. And he was just doing tests on dreams as well. And he says that endorphins get really, really high because it's like the same type of thing when you're working out, right?
Okay.
Like, you start to feel, like, when I work out, I start to feel pain, and my body loves it, so I'm addicted. That's not a call for help, by the way. Sorry.
Not yet.
And he was simply saying that you do feel emotions when you're sleeping, and who knows if we're conscious, because even being aware, everything feels real, because we actually recorded the last episode on lucid dreaming, because I suffer from sleep.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, from sleep
Okay, I have to
paralysis.
go back and listen to it now. I'm upset I didn't get to listen to all your latest podcasts.
No, it's okay. Don't worry. Don't worry. You're gonna be listening to this one.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Last time was super weird to hear myself talk. I was like, ooh.
It's fucking weird.
Ooh.
Him and I, one time I don't know if we still have that. It was just like a 6-hour conversation. We're just trying to get into the
one of
tune
the
of
first
things.
episodes.
Yeah, we never posted it.
That was intense.
We were just 6 hours conversation.
Did you listen to all 6 hours afterwards?
No. But I could never imagine this.
I don't think I would either.
I could. One day.
This
if
is
I
a
got this-
tangent, but when I was a kid, I actually used to. My sister and I, we had this big tape recorder, and we would take all of my parents' tapes that didn't have the. You know, if you push this.
Oh,
Some of them
yeah.
can't be recorded over, some of them can. So we would take all the ones that could be recorded over into my room, and we would make like radio shows. Like
Oh,
we would
shit.
like talk hosts,
Oh,
and
shit.
there's like all of these cassette tapes that had like us talking, and there was like ones like my parents would buy them off the church. The church sold like tapes of the sermons, and my sister and I would tape over these sermons with just us, like talking and singing and like doing random shit. So my parents would then put in the cassette tapes when we'd be on a road trip or something, and all of a sudden it's just me and my
Fucking
sister
party.
like talking over the cassettes, and my parents would get like a little bit upset but then kind of laugh about it. And I find that's really funny to me. Like I did that as a kid, and now as an adult I'm also doing the same sort of thing, like talking into a microphone. But also it's interesting.
It's very
really
therapeutic,
interesting
right?
to hear yourself speak, because when I was a kid and I heard myself speak, I was like, that's not my voice. That sounds like a kid speaking. And I was like, as a kid, I was like, that's not what I sound like. I am like so sophisticated. And I think that might still be it, where I'm like, no, I don't sound like that. Like I sound way cooler. in my head.
Oh man.
We gotta put some like voice effect filters on, like make our voice like super deep.
Yeah.
Sound
Yeah,
like
what's
cool
the cool person filter for my
Yeah.
voice? I just sound like some people have those voices, you know, where
I don't know. Some
Listen to
voices,
them
like even
speak.
with like
Oh.
when native people go like, even with meditation going.
the throat.
Oh,
The
yeah,
throat
like
singing. Do you listen
some
to
people
much
talk
throat
like
singing?
that. Yeah.
Have you?
A little bit, yeah.
Okay. This is another thing that my sister and I got into, was Tibetan throat singing. Like you can
Yeah.
look it up on YouTube. It's insane. And
It's
like if you
crazy.
just sit there and like it changed me. I swear. Like, and there's a lot of indigenous people in Canada. It kind of pops up. This throat singing thing is everywhere. And it's like this thing. Like it just hits different.
Can you
Like
hit
it
it?
Oh,
hits
yeah.
that like, yeah, I can do it.
It hits like the back of your brain.
There's something. So
Yeah, like I instantly feel like
and this
So
one's
what
for
does
the
that
this
even-
one's for the throat. The blue one.
Yeah.
Blue is for the throat center. So this is supposed to open up your throat chakra.
Oh.
So I mean, good for podcast.
Good for podcast.
And then you can do the like.
Sometimes
Oh, yeah.
when I'm in the middle of the day, I hear this sound. Some
Yeah,
people get a.
same here.
Some people get a. I get a.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's pretty peaceful to get.
So I
through
just-
the day.
Yeah.
I get the ringing.
Man, that was actually beautiful.
Mine's not as nice.
Someone needs to sample this.
This can be like the make the sound the like beginning of your podcast, just the. And then the podcast starts.
Oh my goodness.
Incredible.
You.
You're gonna get one now.
That's an idea.
Getting people on the.
Just
I think
beginning
they're
of a
great.
podcast.
Yeah.
Someone should like make music with like actual like fun. I don't like pop music, you know, but, like with these.
Yeah.
I feel like
Imagine
that'd be
hearing that on
really
the radio.
interesting.
Yeah.
That'd be-
DJing that shit.
Do you think they could put that on the radio, or would everyone's minds just explode?
I think they would all just crash.
Yeah, something. Okay,
everyone
I
everyone
have to use
simultaneously
the
enters
washer.
Nirvana.
It's because all the water, right?
Yeah, I know. I'm like throwing back water.
Sometimes I hold in my piss. Like that last conversation with Tyler, I held in my piss for that like 2
Yeah,
hours.
same. Bro.
No, you in the middle of the episode, you can
I
hear
was
the.
sitting on my feet. You can hear that.
And we're just in the middle
Hey,
of
anyone
having.
got a diaper in this
It was so enjoyable, bro. It's just so fucking funny. So
Fuck. Yeah, I know that feeling. Holding in piss is like,
Yeah.
it's a brutal. It's like you
I don't
can
know,
do
and
it-
then you let it go, and it just feels really relaxing.
Yeah, right.
Like it's just therapeutic.
Yeah.
My body just enjoys it. It's like, thank you, Abraham.
Yeah, right. Finally pissing.
Finally Pissing. That
That
should be an
sounds like a
album.
band name.
Yeah, Finally
An
Pissing.
album, yeah.
Yo.
Post punk. They're like, that's like Midwestern music or something like that. Finally Pissing.
Big Sean.
I just wrecked my bladder.
I'm going fucking surf.
Oh man, great! This is a great podcast.
I'm having fun. I feel like this is so much more less anxiety inducing than the last one.
Because all of the critics.
Oh yeah, all my plants
Yeah.
are here calming me down. No, I was
And
so
we're-
nervous last time. I was like, what are people gonna think? What if I mess up everything? Even when I listened back to it, I was like, oof, I really got some of that info. Like, maybe not entirely correct.
But you
But-
learned.
Yeah,
Everything's-
definitely I learned.
And you're more. You even said that you're more comfortable, and you spat nothing but facts. Yeah.
Yeah, the first one's always, I feel like, kind of nervous. Even
Always.
with us, like that's why we did the super long episode, because we kind of
Yeah.
just want to
Just-
like figure out what we're
I
what
think
we're
that's
doing.
really
you
smart.
know?
Yeah.
To like really get it all out
Yeah.
first.
Yeah.
Because
I'm not gonna lie. Like the first episode, it's not as good as the last episode, but like I'm always continuously, like developing myself in my speech. How
Well, I think
my
that's, like-
vernaculars, how I articulate everything in one like phrase. Like I saw a Malcolm X thing. It was just like a smart mind is making like a paragraph into a sentence.
Oh yeah.
yeah.
So like I want to play.
That's why
That's a
essays
great
suck.
point.
That's why essays are the worst.
Yeah.
Because everything is in the thesis. Like,
Yeah.
just read the thesis.
Just read.
That's a very good point.
I really hate writing essays. I'm like passionately hateful towards essays.
Yeah.
It's something I should work on, maybe. But I think they're the worst. But yeah. Anyways, going back to that, I think that what you're doing is really, really cool. Like, I really love how you've kind of created this community about what you want to talk about, and like with
Yeah.
all these really interesting people on
It's
your
funny.
platform, and like
Yeah.
how you are on doing this to grow yourself, like, because you're not making money off of this. This is
No,
just for fun.
It's just value. I hope everybody enjoys what they listen to in the fact that the intention is making you think about life like we do.
Yeah.
And not saying that in a condescending way. It's just like in a way that there's sometimes I don't know everything, so you know something.
Going into every conversation assuming you might be wrong.
Yeah, like I'm just.
Yeah.
I'm,
Here to learn.
I'm just fucking here to learn. I'm clueless
Yeah.
as the next guy, man. The thing is I don't know everything, but I can know everything in a way by asking good questions.
Mm.
Not everything to me, but subjectively. But I will never be like fulfilled. My tank will always need to be refilled once in a while.
Mm-hmm.
Of like, okay, now I have to see this in a different perspective. I try
You gotta
to.
water yourself.
Let's go, man.
How's it going?
Hey, Matt.
How are you?
Now the whole crew's here.
Do you think we could answer any question? Like, if we could ask it, we could answer it.
Well, it depends. Like with kids too, they ask fucking crazy questions. Sometimes I can't even answer.
That's true. I guess
And
you,
I'm like,
everything just
I guess
devolves
you
to
gotta
why.
figure it out.
Yeah.
I have lots of questions I can't answer personally. I feel like I have a new question every day about like that I just don't know. Like there's just so
You have
much
a little
that
sister, right? What's the craziest question she's ever asked you?
I don't know. I don't know if she really
Not crazy, but, like,
asks me
the one
much.
that
She
just-
more she tells me what's up. Like she like, she's quite a little firecracker, that one. Her and I, she's often referred to as my like mini me, because she's me but like blonde hair, blue eyes. Like she's like, we have the same features. She's just little, and like her whole personality, her demeanor is like, when she talks, I'm like, why are you me? Like, what are you doing here? But at the same time, she's so herself and so in like her beautiful, like she's such a gorgeous soul. That like I don't even think it feel worthy being compared to her sometimes. But yeah, she really tells me what's up. One of the coolest things she ever said to me, she talked about her
Be
past
humble,
life.
dude.
She told me all about her past life when she was like 3 years old or
Damn.
something like that. Yeah, there was a lot of cows involved or something. Like it was
Cows
like
are holy.
I don't remember exactly what, but she would just go on for hours with these stories when she was a kid, and I could barely understand what she was saying, but I would just sit there and listen because I was like, "There's some wisdom coming out of this kid somewhere." Like, and that's what her name means, Sophia. Sophia means wisdom. Yeah, it's also Greek, so that's why she's my twin. We're both Greek at heart or at name.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I think she's gonna be quite wise. She already is. And that's like the best
It's
thing.
her environment.
Yeah, and that's what she was given at birth, which is kind of the best thing you can be given is wisdom, I
Yeah.
think.
True. If you're a wise young kid, you're pretty much infinitely free. You can kind of do.
How does
Whatever.
how
Yeah, I
does
think she is.
self-awareness play a part with people that could be in our age and not be very conscious about their decisions, as in being like in a way, I only understand being an asshole because I am guilty of being one. So when I see someone doing it, like I'm just like, and I try to, it's kind of like that phrase is just like, it's impossible to, it's hard to argue with a very intellectual person, but it's damn near impossible.
Impossible to argue with an idiot.
Yeah. So it gets to a point to, like, how does self-awareness play in a part with people that are very unconscious today? And to
Okay.
individuals that, like, experience negativity from other individuals and are really toxic to each other. I don't like to use that word, but it's a lack of better words. Yeah.
Do you know much about shadow work?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, cool.
Carl Jung.
Yeah. And it's very heavily adopted by this, like, little witchcraft community that's sprouted on the internet. This, like, going inward and realizing how everything that you judge other people for is something that you have in yourself. On the
Yeah.
flip side,
It's a mirror.
everything that you like about other people is also something that you have. So if you're out here being insecure because someone has something that you want to have, you have that. You
Right.
know, you're like, oh, I love that person's personality. You have that inside of you. Whatever you love about other people is something that you love about yourself. Whatever you
It's in
hate
you,
about other
yeah.
people, something you hate about yourself.
Straight
that's-
wisdom, man. I'm right there.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get that
when you
tattoo.
find that, I mean, when you get really conscious about it, you can, like, look at something someone does that annoys you and work on it yourself.
The triggers.
You can be like,
Yeah.
oh, I really hate that person, something dumb, like they chew with their mouth open, like that really pisses me off. Do I do that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Subconsciously, it's always like a
Yeah, and you're like, okay, like, that's something I can work on. That's really a stupid example, but you're like, okay, someone is making me wait. Like, someone's late. They're making me wait for something. I'm really upset because I have this schedule. I need to be on time, whatever. And then you're like, okay, but I am always late. That's why I'm worried about this person being late, because I inconvenience other people as
Yeah.
well. And so you, like, turn that around. Always turn the table on yourself.
It's like the Uno card, but in the way it's just like
You Uno
they
reverse yourself.
it's a cognitive dissonance. That's
Yeah.
the word.
Yeah, you have to be able to judge yourself, right?
Yeah. Well, I think people who dissociate, like, that's, like, a kind of their superpower. You know, like, that's, like, a disorder that people have started talking about a lot, is dissociative.
Oh, the word doesn't mean dissociative. It means that they're committed to misunderstanding what you have to say.
Dissociating?
I think it might be something else.
It's cognitive. Who has a phone?
So a dissociating, like, disorder means that, like, it feels like...
I said a word, cognitive dissonance. Do you...
Yeah, no, different.
Okay.
Different.
Nice.
So,
Sorry. I thought
no, that's okay. Dissociating yourself, disassociating.
Oh, okay.
So you're not associating yourself with yourself,
Mm.
essentially. So I think people who do dissociate are actually really self-aware, because what it feels like to me, and what a lot of people describe it as, is like your world is a screen and you're standing behind it.
Mm.
So you're looking at your life as a movie almost, right? So you're kind of this, like, outside perspective, like, omniscient
Yeah.
person.
Mhm.
And most of the people who I know who, like, really struggle with dissociation, the people who the people who just, like, seem really spaced out or daydreamy, they're
question.
dissociating. Yeah.
Is the observer different from the thing that's being observed?
I don't know if I can say. I
Alright.
don't know.
We'll get back to that later, sorry.
Is the observer different than the thing it's observing?
See, like, I'm observing this plant.
No, I guess that goes back to everything is everything. Like, we
Yeah,
are
everything is
all,
everything.
we are all the
Do
same.
you
Like, we
think I
are
can
all
have
the same thing.
Yeah. Oh, I guess you.
But yeah.
Yeah.
Anyways, I say that because I think the people who can like take themselves out of their own shoes are the best at putting themselves in other shoes and putting themselves back in their own shoes.
Yeah, that's a
And
very.
so it's
Just visualize that.
Yeah, and people talk about it as people talk about everything as a disorder, right? Like attention deficit disorder. I can't pay attention, but I'm also really great at multitasking, and I have a lot of hobbies, and I'm really versatile, and like there's different ways you can describe things. So I feel like people who dissociate, sometimes it's really scary when you dissociate for days, but at the same time, like you are learning so much about yourself and so much about the people around you, and it's really taking that like omniscient presence, that almost God perspective of your own life.
Yeah.
And like if you are your own God, and if you are God, and if everything is God.
But you don't want to put that like in the way of understanding that in a way that like you're a form of a creation of a God, but you don't want to put all that.
Oh no! Like
all that
have
shit
like
on
an
your
ego
soul.
thing.
Yeah, all that shit.
Yeah,
like
well,
Kanye West style,
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, no, that you got to be careful of your ego, obviously.
Yeah.
Your chart or whatever 8 other planets in your chart that are saying a lot about you, and you let only your sun sign dictate. We all just talk about our sun sign. We all let our ego kind of dictate our world. So like you have to like I think that's a really good analogy for astrology, is becoming self-aware. That's looking at not just your ego. It's looking at every part of you, your emotions, the way you communicate, the way that you interact with philosophy, the way that you interact with your parents, the way that you go into this, the way that you go into that, because that gives you this whole 8 other things that you have to work on, not just ego. And ego is always talked about first, because ego wants to be first.
Yeah.
So when you like take a step back, zoom out, and look at like every option, astrology, I think, gives us a really great point of view there.
Yeah. It gives us a perspective on what even the representation of like us in a way of like same with like the Christianity as well. So I see that as a beautiful correspondence and coexisting thing. I don't even remember. I think it was a coworker. I was just like, it's very controversial because I believe in God. My faith is in God. But I have friends that are like, I'm not open-minded, but like I'm not gonna hit on someone who's a Satanist. So who like I've had conversations with them. I'm not like, oh, fucking holy water and shit. Like I'm sitting there as an individual. I like just like taking whatever ideology and just being open-minded, but not trying to dispute what I have to say, because we're just gonna get in a inevitable argument of something. Because even when that one time when we were in Vancouver, and those guys were like giving out pamphlets, and we're having conversations, and I was asking that guy questions. He was just
pamphlets for what?
We're just like.
Yeah, like abortion is wrong. Like God's.
Yeah, I think they were just a bunch of Jehovah's.
We just stopped and asked them some questions.
Like no disrespect to Jehovah's Witnesses, but it was the Jehovah's Witnesses. Like
They're trying to witness you. No, I mean that's a cult.
You're asking.
What about Scientology? What do you think
that's
of
a cult? That's a cult. Christianity's a cult. It's all a cult. Any organized religion's a cult.
Yeah.
Like they're all the same thing. You're all looking up to one guy. You know, if you want it to not be a cult, everyone should have a say.
Should we just all go be
Then
cavemen?
it's a
Let's just be cavemen again.
Be cavemen?
Just start fires. Just go off in the wilderness.
Regress to monkey.
Well, I'm out of here in a couple of years, guys. On my commune with my cats and my goats and my plants, my food forest. My boyfriend, I guess.
How's the mushrooms?
The mushrooms. They're vibing. I don't know. That's more like Ben's project.
Yeah.
He like shows me it, but
I guess I gotta
wish
ask
I could
them
like,
that.
Yeah, I don't know too. He's like monitoring it. I don't know enough. I like
They're not
mushrooms.
magic, by
I think
the way.
mushrooms are great, and they're oyster mushrooms. We're growing oyster mushrooms. We're not. Everyone asks. That's the first question everyone asks when we're like, "Oh, we're growing mushrooms." They're like, "Magic mushrooms?" They're like, "No." Kind of. I mean, they can be magical, but they're not they're not gonna make you trip. They're just gonna make you happy.
with mushrooms.
Magic mushrooms?
Not magic mushrooms,
Okay.
but mushrooms.
Oh. Just eating regular
Really?
mushrooms.
I have trauma from magic.
I'm joking.
Yeah, are you a mushroom hater?
I'm not a hater,
Okay.
but like when I was a kid, I was eating this mushroom soup and I didn't like it.
Okay.
I guess it just too much. I guess this was when I was finding out that I was lactose. It had a lot of like
Oh,
dairy.
it's a cream of mushroom soup?
Yeah, and I was
gross.
just puking it up in there. And then the babysitter was just like, "Nah, little nigga." Like, sorry, excuse my language. Shit. She just
Made you eat it?
made me eat my own puke.
What the fuck?
Like made me soup with the that's
That's
I got it.
That's
Yeah.
a horror story.
Yeah.
That's pretty fucked up. Yeah, I didn't like mushrooms as a kid either, but not for that reason. I just didn't like them.
That relatable moment when your babysitter
No,
force
it-
feeds you your own mushroom soup.
Ew.
My babysitter was my mom's friend, man, and I was living
Shout
in
out
New-
to mom's
Yeah,
friend.
yeah.
Not so friend anymore, man. Oh man. it
Oh
was-
gosh.
I remember she the babysitter, she was my mom told her like, don't feed him any gum, like, and that's all
Gum?
she would just give me gumballs. I was like, oh shit. Okay.
After your mom said,
I guess she's like
Why can't you have
she'd
gum?
find
What's
me
your
with like all
issue?
these cavities, and she's like, how the fuck did you get it? Like when we get to the dentist, how the fuck did you get
Yeah.
these cavities? Like gum, like from Senor Anna, and then I was just like, fuck.
she's like, come for dinner.
Gum and puke for dinner.
Oh man, it's something I laugh about every time I see mushrooms.
Yeah, that's
Well,
intense.
you know what, Abe? I'll cook you mushrooms and you'll like it one day.
Okay.
I think so.
And-
I love mushrooms. They're one of my favorite foods. And one of the most sustainable foods. Because they take the least amount of water to grow.
Yeah.
Out of, like, everything. And they grow off, like, garbage, like compost. Like, ours are growing off coffee grounds. And hay.
Nice.
And, like, some wood chips, I'm pretty sure. Like, it's, like, so
Everything is
low
mushrooms.
maintenance. Everything is
Everything is
eventually
everything.
we're going to be mushrooms. Like
Yeah.
true.
some sort of mushroom's gonna eat us. Well, they're really cool because they're the decomposers, and not only do we eat them, they eat us.
That's gonna be the
Bad.
title of the episode, by the way. Everything is everything.
That's a good
everything.
one, yeah.
Cool. I had to be the title maker.
Yeah.
God creates us, we create God.
That's real though. God created us and we created his religion, so
Yeah.
I don't think God made that one.
I don't even know.
Yeah, I don't think like the Bible is hella human made. Like
In a way,
It's got so many mistakes.
yeah.
Like,
well,
that's the
everything has
thing,
a
it's like-
everything.
It is made by humans, and humans make mistakes.
Yeah.
Like, that's like the cool
But-
part about being a human is that we have that human.
You know
Right.
that game Telephone,
Yeah.
and it goes around. So
Yeah.
the Bible used to be like leather. Like after I believe it was saying that it was it was Beethoven. That's what you see the day. And who's it? Who was the one who wrote the book? I've read it in like grade 11 or something.
It's a book about famous composers.
Yeah, no.
So
Who's the one
the
who's
game
the-
of telephone, like it loses in
Yeah, it's
sudden
like it's
translation.
yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, it was translated from Hebrew to Greek to Latin,
Everything's
Right?
everything.
and
I
then
believe so.
back to and then to English or something like that, or Greek to English, something.
Yeah.
I didn't go to Bible school.
It's
So-
definitely been translated at least 4 or 5 times through like hella
I
different
think I'm gonna
languages.
get my
Yeah.
my brother's hella not like he's very he can have a conversation, so very open to having a conversation, but he knows that book from the hand to the back.
Really.
The Bible.
Pro.
Pro. He's
So did he go to Bible college?
Yeah, I believe
Yeah.
so.
My
Like,
friend
like,
went to Bible college. I love talking to her about the Bible because
it's a code in a way.
it's
Like it's
hard book to read, like a really hard book to read,
Hard.
especially like when
Not
you go to
everyone's
Bible
supposed to
college.
see
I'm pretty sure you have to take Hebrew and like learn the like derivatives of each word that they talk about and the meanings of all these like metaphors that we don't really get because it's lost in translation in English. Like there's like so much to it that like I've read the Bible through at least once, maybe twice, you know,
Yeah.
like, and I barely understand it most of the time.
Yeah.
So
It gets pretty crazy in that book.
yeah, like it's a study. Like you need classes to fully understand it. I think that's why there's a lot of shitty Christians, is because most people don't actually
Yeah,
understand the Bible.
That's comes.
All the people I've met
That
who
comes
have
back-
gone to Bible college are amazing. Like they're awesome people. But
100%.
then like all the people who are just like, I go to church, then I'm like,
But going to church doesn't make you a good
Yeah.
person. It's just the relationship you have with God.
going to
I
church
guess.
doesn't even make you a Christian.
Yeah,
Like
that's what I'm saying. And
My grandpa used to say, "Going just because you go to church doesn't mean you're a Christian. Just because you stand in the garage doesn't make you a car."
oh, that's a good one.
but
I like that.
but
Yeah, my grandfather's also quite Christian.
I had kind of a topic that I want to talk about.
Okay.
What do you guys think is the reason for the decline in religion and just like just faith-based ideologies in general?
as we were just saying.
So you think there's a decline?
I think people are getting more into politics. I don't know if that's just social media biases, but it feels like people are more
I feel like in my internet
in your
exploration,
circle.
the algorithm?
maybe the algorithm, whatever it is, like there is an increasing amount of
you
people
think-
getting into spirituality. I think that
But they have
right
like,
now
this
people
beautiful
say there's
representation
a
of
spiritual
God.
awakening happening right now. People are talking about how, because we've now entered the age of Aquarius, and exited the age of Pisces. And Pisces is very Christian. They say that Jesus was a Pisces. It's the last sign of the zodiac. It's all about religion and like mysticism, and they're very much like woo up in the like everything is very wild. But now we're entering Aquarius, and that's technology. Aquarius rules technology and like the occult and like the weird kind of interesting things, and like I think we as a world are going through an awakening, especially because
Did
it's
you see
pandemic.
the conversation? Did you see the conversation? It's funny because it's just like AI. Did you see the conversation of I don't know if you would. Was it? It was. I saw it on Joe Rogan that there was two AIs talking to each other,
Oh, really?
and it was just like, "Who's your god?" Like
they
it
went
was
to
crazy.
that,
It was like having conversation like, what is the meaning of like da 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 da? Yeah, they were both having.
Oh, interesting.
It gets to the point where it's just like, Elon Musk said this. He's like, fear the ones that like worship the AI gods. Kind of like, are you guys into Marvel?
Yeah.
Captain
We
America.
recently watched like all of the Avengers, and I watched Doctor Strange for the first time.
Beautiful,
which was
right?
So cool.
Yeah,
it was
it was
actually really cool.
gorgeous,
I was
yeah.
like, I feel like this is weird. Scott Benedict.
How did you feel when you just
Cumberbatch.
kicked him out of the fucking?
It was wild,
Yeah.
dude. That was so, and the visual, it was insane.
Yeah.
Like, it was like extra crazy, but
Yeah. Do it with Soul.
Soul.
That magic mushroom.
Oh, the
Soul.
new Disney. Is it
Oh.
Disney?
Yeah,
movie?
it's beautiful. It's gorgeous. You have to watch it if you haven't.
I've heard people crying about it. I
You
can't
did-
watch things that make me cry.
No. It's a beautiful representation of what art is and what soul is.
Okay.
For lack of
I
better
watch
words.
it.
Yeah.
I'm like, I
It's pretty good.
avoid things that make me cry.
No, this would
right
make you
now.
more appreciative.
I don't need more things to cry.
But there's always
if you
good
normally
happy
cry from Disney
things.
movies, you might, but I don't know.
I
It's a good
cried
story.
watching Frozen. Like, I'm a baby.
Man,
I'm a bitch.
that's my girlfriend cries all the time. She crying Toy Story, the last Toy Story.
Oh,
Yeah.
that one you have to cry.
Well, obviously. Who didn't sob for a week after that
No,
one?
there's a
Like,
lot
come
more
on.
than like.
People
there's a
didn't
lot.
cry for that one.
No, I sound like a savage. No.
You can tell if someone's an AI. That's like real life.
Abe's an
capture.
AI. You've heard it here
Yeah,
first.
but-
Don't cry at the end of Toy
What?
Story.
Who is your god?
Fuck.
Woody from Buzz Lightyear.
Buzz Lightyear.
Well.
Reach the sky.
It's falling with style.
I actually, it's interesting because I think this is another thing that, going back to our spiritual awakening, like that we are waking up from, is this thinking that we don't have emotions, like pretending to be AI, you know, like
Yeah,
we.
it's the phones and social media that
Well,
continuously has this.
no, but it's not just that. Like,
But
it's
it can
been
be,
here
like-
forever. Like I've never heard. I feel like I've never heard my grandfather talk about an emotion. You know, like, it's generational. Like, we've like suppressed all of our shit,
Mhm.
and like, there's like and your girlfriend like and I are those people who like cry at everything. That's like abnormal, and like I'm sure she probably got hate on it too, like for me, like, I was, like, bullied in my
It's
family for,
adorable.
like, crying
It's adorable.
for things. Yeah, I mean, you're dating.
No, but it's adorable because
But a lot of people give you hate for, like, being a crier. Like, if someone yells at me, I start crying instead of yelling back. Like, I'm not, like, a fighter, I'm a crier. So, like, and there's not a lot of space in our society for people who show that emotional vulnerability because we do everything to hide our vulnerability
I love
as a
vulnerability.
society. Like, we're all wearing armor all the time to, like, make sure that we're protected and safe. But I think we could be at a really cool point in time where we're, like, everyone's talking about mental health. Everyone's talking about how they feel about things. Everyone's talking about emotion. Everyone's talking about, like, everything that they feel about everything. Like, that's what the internet's doing. And so I think we're having this emotional awakening at the same time where we're all starting to talk about and feel things and, like, be here and, like, be emotional beings. And, like, there was one person once where I was, like, crying because I was overwhelmed by something and I was, like, apologizing. And they were like, no, like, this is your superpower. Like, I wish
God
I could
bless
show this much vulnerability. I was someone I really respected too, so I was like, ooh, this is but and that was, like, the one time where I feel like I was, like, validated in crying for something that wasn't sad, you know? Like, it was like I was, like, overwhelmed and stressed and, like, everything is happening at the same time. We're in the panorama.
The panorama.
Pandy.
Who shall not be named.
Voldemort.
But yeah, and, like, I feel like we need more of that. We need more people, like, validating your emotions, or more people being like, this is a cool thing that you're doing, being vulnerable and being emotional, and that's how we're going to move forward as a society, spiritually, and, like, through, like, morality. Like, how do we figure out our morals is by feeling things. So, like, really being emotional beings. And, like, how do we find out what is the best way to reduce harm? Being emotional beings and feeling
Our
what
emotions
hurts. Your girlfriend's probably really intuitive, isn't she? Yeah.
Super crazy.
Yeah.
Super crazy. You have absolutely no idea. You have like, it's... Sometimes I don't even trust myself. I trust myself fully, but it's just, like... When she says something, I don't do it. Like, it's not forced. I'm like, yeah, that's actually good thought. That's a good thought.
Yeah,
Like,
she's probably right, like, all the time.
Yeah. And it's the thing is that we're not trying to be right. We're trying to understand what is right.
Right.
For sure.
What is right in the like
Totally.
in everything.
I like that.
With like in everything to be understood. I don't want to get in a pointless ass fucking argument just defending myself and having like some fucking, like she said, bruised ego. I'm like, I don't have a bruised ego. When she said that what'd she say? She said that she reminded me of I reminded her of her sister, and then I just laughed. And then she said, it's a whole story.
I mean, but it's interesting. Like, Ben and I have been having some conversations lately where I'll be like, you're like this. And he's like, no, I'm not. You can't put that on me. You're putting that on me. And I was like, and I then take a step back and I'm like, okay, am I just doing this or what, you know? Like, there's, like, because me, I'm, like, intuition. Maybe it's just my connection in my brain, right?
Yeah.
Like, I'm making that connection where I'm like, you're like this. And he's like, I don't want to be like that, so don't tell me about it, you know? I don't have a bruised ego. You can't say that. Like, that's not true, you know? And eventually, we're really good at getting to that place where we find that little bit of understanding with each other where we can both recognize that we're both right, or we're both on the right path to something, and we can, like, recognize. I mean, that's the whole thing about being in a relationship is recognizing the other person.
There's no beauty. Like, the only beauty is the strength of understanding that there's not. Again, it's not everything's gonna be happiness.
Yeah.
Like,
Happiness isn't the goal. It's
Yeah.
it's a stop along the way. Like, it's, I don't know, it's in the cycles.
Of course.
I'm, like, so deep into thought all
What-
the
what
time. Like, just, like, in the back of my head is this, like, little...
When was the last time you had to, like,
that's
bring yourself
creating
out?
thoughts.
Like, you were just like, whoa. Like, you had to bring yourself out. That's
Today, probably. Like, when I woke up this morning. I don't know. All the time. Like, I'm just constantly dreaming. Like, my friend Asia was over earlier, and we were talking about our plans for our little commune for our hippie lives. And we're like daydreaming, right, in this conversation, and both of us are kind of like back here, like daydreaming, like visualizing this like beautiful, like where we would like teach our kids how to do things, what it would look like it was just like beautiful, right? And like that's like I feel like half the time I'm like always like that, but that's a manifestation, right? Like that visualization is a
That's somewhere out
manifestation,
there.
and I'm like I feel like daydreaming is just manifesting.
It
so I'm
is.
just constantly
You have
doing
that-
that little like thing in my dream cave in my head.
That's the thing. It's just the dream garden.
Hmm
Just a little
Have you
fruit.
heard the song Dream Cave?
No.
Uh,
I think we can
will you
play.
get copyrighted?
Yeah. I believe so.
Yeah. Well, the beginning.
Are you good?
So it's like this really like soft, lovely song, and then the last minute of the song is just rain sounds.
Mm.
It's really cool. I really like it. And it's such a vibe, the song itself, and then it just goes and drops into these like really like light rain sounds with like a little bit of thunder in the background, and it's really interesting because that's what it feels like to be in your like dream cave. That's why I like that analogy, because it's like this like wild idea is happening, and then it starts raining, and then you're like in the you're just listening to the rain for a second, but that's like letting the thoughts settle, you know, letting the dream settle into the reality.
What's the difference again? Like, how do we know that that's not there, or how do we know that we're not seeing something in the future?
Well, I think it's all real. I think
It
dreams
is.
are real. I think I live 2 lives. For real. Or like 7. I live like 7 lives. Like there's like I wake up exhausted. You know, like I went through it in my dream, and then I go to sleep, I'm exhausted. I went through it in my life. You know, like there's like a I think I'm like here just living. Like
Yeah,
just like
simple.
fully in the living.
Full force.
Everything is everything.
Everything
For
is
real.
everything.
Dreams are sort of like meta truth.
This song. I'll just play the beginning. You can get kind of like a. Oh, my phone died. Never mind. I won't play it for you.
That actually maybe we could have got copyrighted right there, and just like the universe.
Anyways,
say
it's like a
block
little
that.
bit like it's that like kind of moody guitar, and then it goes into this like whimsical
Yeah.
sort of like it's wild. My phone's been dying for all day, so.
What's it
Same.
called? What is the song called?
Dream Cave by Cloud Control. Plug because they're
For
awesome.
real.
How long have we been talking?
We're at 7:00 now, so we can wrap it up whenever. We're an hour and a half in.
Oh, hour and a half in. Wow, longest episode.
Yeah, right.
I think.
Other than our first.
Props to the
one.
people
Yeah.
who listen to this point.
Yeah, props to you guys. You guys.
I mean, I personally love long podcasts. I
Yeah.
I listen to podcasts when I'm cleaning houses. That's my first job, and it's awesome. It's the best. Honestly.
How are like? Do you like clean for old people?
Sometimes, I mean, we mostly clean for families.
Mm.
It's like parents are busy with their kids, so
Yeah.
they get us to come in and clean. Today, I was at a family friend's house. They're awesome. And both of them have like hurt backs, so right now we're doing everything. Like we're doing their laundry, we're doing like
Yo, shout out to the
Their
women
dishes.
hustling out there, man. Man.
yeah that I do that, and I stage houses, which is also really fun. I just started that this week. But yeah, I mean, I'm cleaning for like hours at a time. So, and podcasts are so short. The podcasts I listen to, sometimes some of them are like 20 minutes, and I'm like, what?
Yeah. I
Like-
listen to them. I'm just because I've said this so many times, but I love it. I don't estimate my time by clock anymore. I estimate the time by like a 5-hour podcast.
Yeah.
Like say I'm working
Yeah.
for like
Yeah.
8 hours, and I have a 6-hour podcast like Joe Rogan. He has like 2, and my favorites I listen to them over and over
Yeah.
again because it's like reading a book, right?
Yeah.
And-
well, that's another thing. Audiobooks.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Lit.
It's crazy, honestly, and it gets to the point where it's just like I don't, I don't estimate my time. So when I get to the end of the podcast, when he's like, "All right, goodbye," da da da, I'm just like, "Oh, my day is almost over," and I just don't look at my phone. I try not to look at the clock either, because then
Good.
I don't want to
look at
live
my
off.
phone a little too much right
I
now.
no, I'm guilty of looking at my phone. Don't get me wrong. When I'm home and I'm just mindlessly scrolling, I'm like, whoa. I just put it off. I like playing my Switch. It's kind of like I daydream when I play my Switch. Like
I daydream on
I
my
get out.
phone.
Whoa.
But I think that's like the issue is like
I love Mario
I
Kart.
can daydream doing anything. Like I can daydream making art. I can daydream doing my job. I can daydream doing whatever. So doing like having the phone
Isn't
as like
art
the
like a
easiest way to.
representation? Even the piece on your leg, like it's just like a representation with just a little piece of your amazing mind.
Totally. All of my art comes from my little messy brain I got going on here. Yeah, I mean, that's all an expression of the daydream. It's the visual representation of the weird little reality I live in, you know? But, like, I mean, about the phone, like, I feel like it distracts me from those things, like, that I could be doing. Because I daydream when I'm making art.
Yeah.
Or I could daydream on my phone. And it's like, what's easier is just going on my phone and scrolling through TikTok endlessly, right?
That's the thing, what's easy. It's just like being mad. Getting mad is super easy, but containing those emotions, very difficult. No one said it was going to be easy. Even, it's okay to cry. I'd love to really be an advocate of therapeutically just letting your body go. Just crying. Even with happy tears, sad tears. Just, it's like puking. Sometimes when I'm very sick, sorry to get a little graphic,
Second puke talk.
It's like
Puke part 2.
Puke part 2, man. Like when I'm really sick and I puke, I kind of feel a lot more better after it.
Well, yeah.
So
Purge.
Yeah, so it's sad. I just, yeah.
Yeah. Did we cover all the things?
I think we covered the most beautiful things ever. So
Cool.
Thank you, Zoe.
Oh, thank you, Abe. This has been lovely. I was really excited about this.
Yeah, it's gonna be. If you guys haven't listened to the first episode, please do. Please give us a review, like, subscribe, whatever. Show your appreciation. I'd love to have it we're in a pandemic, so we have to be very careful. I do take COVID tests, and obviously it came out negative, or I wouldn't be here.
Yes.
And I hope you have a great day, and thank you for everything. Do you want to leave anybody with a form of value? Like, for someone who's just going through, like, a messy day, just trying to think about astrology, because some people don't really understand the concept. So just, I know that could be like another fucking hour conversation. But
just like a little tidbit.
Yeah, a little kind of like, no, look this way.
Or
what a representation of God, like, you know.
Or, you know, describe God.
Okay. Quote from this, like, 4-hour conspiracy video that I watched recently.
Oh, yeah.
What was it? Okay. People who live hard lives only do easy things, and people who live easy lives only do the hard things. So, I feel like when you're going through your day-to-day, and you're like, this would be the easier thing for me to do, but it's going to make my life
challenges
harder.
for yourself. That's a good one.
Yeah,
that's really
then,
good.
like, you can, like, think about, like, what kind of life do I want to live? The people who live the easy lives, or the people who end up with, like, weight problems, or the people who end up with money problems, who end up, you know.
That's the thing. There's a saying. Warren Buffett has different money problems than a homeless man.
Is that a saying?
Yeah.
Well, 'cause
Definitely
he's-
true.
I mean, yeah, he's working hard for that shit, you know?
Yeah.
Like, if you want to be healthy, that's a lot of hard work. It's a lot easier to not be healthy. But in the long
So many
run, it's going to
different-
make it way harder.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think I'll leave it there.
Yeah.
People who live easy lives do the hard things, and people who live hard lives do the easy things.
And thank you for everything. Thank you for leaving us with a piece of that. That's something that I'm going to take to heart. Thank you, though.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you both.
Mind Voyage.
Cheers.
Cool.
That's kind of like the, what is it, that hard times create weak men create, let me Google it. It was a good quote.
Weak men create hard times.
Something like that, yeah. I think it's like a circle.
It's like, there's a, Malcolm X said this as well. He's just,